What is going on, my Atomic Autoworks friends? So today we're working on a Honda Ridgeline. We do a lot of these Ridgelines. This one here, the headliner's fallen down. Normally the factory headliners fall down, we have to replace them. We've had a big run of headliners that were just replaced by another shop, and all the headliners have been falling down. The reason for this is they're not cleaning off the substrate board really well, and we're going to show you how to clean it off when we're cleaning it off and what it looks like done. So what's funny is I'm going to pull this headliner down, and there's like, it makes you really appreciate the team that you work with when whoever did this one, it's just covered in grease. It looks like a mechanic did it. Grease everywhere. I go to pull the clips down. They had broken the clips that hold the visors in, so we're going to have to repair those. The sun visor, this one here was actually, the cap that goes over that was actually not on. Now I see why. They put the screws in. Looks like they're going to be stripped. They're going to have to pull those out and retap them. And there's also an extra hole there. Actually, it looks like there's an extra few holes there that aren't supposed to be there. So now another thing, as you can see, this headliner was cut short here. I don't know how or why. One thing that a lot of the factory headliners get cut right along the edge, and then when they shrink, they fall down. So what we do is whenever possible, we'll actually fold the material around that top. This way, if it pulls, it's pulling from the backside that you don't see, and you have a longer life. Actually, you can see right here. So this is already, this was cut here. Oh my God, look at this. This headliner is barely even on at all. It's like it's not even glued. That's crazy. You know, when you glue headliner on, that foam gets glued really there, and to pull it off, even after you just do it, it'll rip the foam right off and the headliner is ruined, but this was definitely not glued on properly. Okay, so we're here in the back of the Ridgeline headliner, and these usually come out really easy, but someone's cross-threaded them in. So we're gonna actually have to use a socket to pull them off. Luckily, it's not just a Phillips. One of the reasons you want, which the sun's here, I'm trying to do this without seeing the sun. Hopefully you can see that. Maybe that's better. See all these wrinkles up here? When we're wrapping the headliner, you really want to pull this really tight and wrap it around the backside so that when you push this in, it doesn't do any of this. I mean, this is pretty baggy. I don't know what that's even about. Now, this is a good example too. I want to show you. Hopefully you can see it. When you're removing some of these plastic pieces, you always want to make sure you use a really small, like a pocket screwdriver. You can see here where I'm poking to. Someone already has been in here. They chowed that up, and up here too. They tried to force this plastic piece off, which makes it look kind of cruddy. So we're gonna have to repair that and put it on properly. Here, the headliner itself is dropped down. On most vehicles, you always want to come out the passenger seat in the front. So what you end up doing is we're gonna lift the back of the headliner up towards the sky and kind of finagle it around. And I'm gonna walk to the other side. Now we're just gonna lift the back up. It's a lot easier with two people. What did they break this? Yeah, they broke this. So we're gonna have to fix the back, snap it in pieces. Kind of hard to film this and pull this out, but as you can see, you just keep walking out this way. If your rubber trim or your rubber gaskets are bad, you can pull them completely off. We're usually pretty careful. So now we're just gonna kind of finagle this around. We wanna make sure it doesn't bend or kink, and just pull it out. And never grab the headliner from the center. All right, so here's the headliner out. So let's take a look. So you can see the board is cracked in quite a few places. We're gonna have to repair that. What's weird is it's looking like the headliner itself was actually cleaned well, which is weird. When you look at this, it's really not that bad, but it's still not stuck. So this was probably, yeah, you can see they just didn't put any glue on this thing. Look at this. There's like no glue here. I would think they would have maybe did it with like the 3M stuff you buy at Pep Boys, but it was a real shop that did it. So, and you can see little stuff like this, like detail stuff. This to me is like why not fold it over and trim it? Or this is just really, really bad work. And like I said, this actually was cleaned off fairly well. You can see some of this stuff here. We like to get all that stuff off because it's kind of like when you paint a car, if there's dust in the paint, you'll see it. Same thing with the headliner. So a lot of people ask if we could reuse the headliner when it's in an instance like this. Sometimes you can. This one, there's grease all over it from their fingerprints, and also they put holes in the wrong places and they cut it short in places. So there's reasons why we can't, but I'm gonna show you. We're gonna try to steam it off so people can see what it's like to steam off a headliner. So you can see here, we're trying to steam this off, and the steam's kind of working because this is a new headliner with very little glue on it. The factory is glued a lot better, so this wouldn't work. But you can see trying to do this is a very tedious process, especially when you have clowns like that behind you. But this one is coming off. If they had glued this properly, it would be impossible to do this. The foam would just rip right off the headliner and it would delaminate from itself. You can see some like under here where it wasn't completely clean. There's still a lot of stuff, but it's definitely not bad. And that's not the reason why this is falling down. You could go through and do the whole headliner, and then something like that happens, and that one piece of foam stays down there, this headliner is ruined. You can't use it. So sometimes you're better off just ripping it off and cleaning it. Okay, you can see this one steamed off actually pretty good. What we're gonna do is get rid of every little speckle here, and then clean it up and glue the new headliner on. Now you gotta put some serious glue on there. The problem is when you stick it, it's stuck. So you don't wanna make a mistake. A lot of people use less glue so they can try to peel it up, but then it falls down, obviously. One thing I like to do whenever possible is actually fold this material around this side. On some vehicles, the tolerance, you have to trim it closer, but on a lot of these, you can just put it around. This way it's stuck all the way up here and doesn't fall down. Also, as you're doing this, you wanna make sure you lift the headliner up and always look underneath it to make sure your edge is good, because that'll get rid of that wrinkle we saw that the other one had over in this corner here. Another thing, when you're cutting out for your clothes hangers or grab handles or any of that stuff, you always want to check to make sure you have them in the vehicle, because a lot of vehicles will have holes on both sides of the car, but they won't have them where they go. This one, we know this Ridgeliner has them, so we're going to put a couple of slits in there just so we have an access hole. Also, when you're doing your sun visors, you want to make sure you push it up, and this is all glued really well before you cut it, because if it's not, when you cut it, it could actually be in the wrong place, and you'll see that. So we have the headliner up now. Everything's back together. It was pretty butchered up. We didn't really do a big how to take it out type of deal, because honestly, if you have trouble taking one of these out, you probably shouldn't be doing it.